p.m. on Sunday. Sullivan remembered how she'd pursed her lips and shaken her head when her lawyer said, "You might change your mind." Sullivan had been tired of fighting and had agreed to her lawyer's terms, certain he would never see her again. They'd both signed the legal document, which was approved by a family court judge, making Ryan Patrick Sullivan the primary custodial parent and giving Victoria Alexandra Grayhawk visiting privileges 1 weekend a month. For the past 6 months, he hadn't seen hide nor hair of her. Now, here she was at his back door on a Friday afternoon, demanding to see his son. "You can't see Cody. You can't hold him. You can't have him for the weekend. Get the hell off my doorstep. Get the hell off my property. Go away and don't come back." "He's my son, too. You can't deny me the right to be a mother to him." The flash of fire in her eyes reminded him of the look she'd given him at the bar when he'd asked if she'd come back to his room at the Wart Hotel. The one that had turned him hard as a rock. The one that had made it impossible to swallow. The one that had caused him to capture her nape and touch his mouth to hers. A shiver of excitement skittered down his spine at the mere thought of that kiss. He knotted his fists and forced the feeling down. "You're the one who walked away," he said, in a voice made harsh by vivid memories he thought he'd put behind him. "You said you didn't want to be a mother. It's not something I'm ever likely to forget hearing." "I told you I made a mistake." "You sure as hell did." "I have legal rights," she protested. "Good luck with that. Where were you planning to keep Cody for the weekend? You can't take him out of state without my permission, and I won't give it. Do you have a home here in Montana?" "I've bought a cabin." "Where?" "On the edge of your property." "Not the Wingate place," he said, horrified at the thought of having her so close. "I think that was the old man's name." Sullivan had been planning to buy that tiny log home on the edge of Glacier National Park and the 500 acres that surrounded it for himself. He'd just been waiting for Old Man Wingate to lower his price, since he didn't think there was anyone else willing to buy such a shabby hovel so deep in the woods. Now, the mother of his child was going to be living right on the edge of his property, day in and day out. "What happened to your grand plans to save grizzlies and wolves from extinction?" he said with a sneer. "I'm still working to save endangered species." "I thought you had to travel to do your job. After all, that was the excuse you gave for not wanting to be a mother." That, and the fact that she didn't know him from Adam. He was just a guy she'd met in a bar. It had been good sex, she told him. Great sex as far as he was concerned, though he hadn't bothered to contradict her. But that had been the extent of it. The pregnancy was merely an unforeseen, entirely unexpected consequence. At 22, she wasn't ready to become a single mother, and she wanted the child to grow up in a loving home. At 24, he hadn't exactly been ready for parenthood either, but he'd known he could never give his own flesh and blood away to someone else to raise. "I still have to travel," she said defensively, "but I plan to be here at least 1 weekend a month to see my son." "He's not yours, he's mine," Sullivan said, "and don't you forget it." His gut clenched with fear for his child. He could probably put off the Grayhawk woman for a while by bringing in social services to check out the living conditions in that old cabin in the woods, but eventually she was going to get Cody 1 weekend a month. His little boy would be scared if he went off alone with some stranger, which meant Sullivan was going to have to let that damned woman into his home to spend time with Cody before she took him away and kept him by herself. Not to mention making sure she knew how and what to feed Cody, how to change a diaper, what his bedtime ritual was, and how he sometimes woke up at night and needed a small light turned on.